question is, does the kid belong there? Okay? Do they belong there, or do they not belong there? If they don't belong there, they're going to have a terrible time, probably end up dropping out. It will not be a very productive, expensive time. So the thing what you want to do is you want to get them to actually belong, to be there. Okay? Now, to do this, a child does not have to be a genius. The thing is that you have to be dedicated to your own education. Okay? If you are dedicated, that makes up pretty much for any lack of genius talent that you might have. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to make sure that the kids buy into their own education. Okay? By the time they get to my level, which is 7th, 8th, 9th grade, you know, we do the foundation building, right? By the time they get to my level, it's almost too late for the parents to have any further impact on them, okay? And you can't really push them any harder. They're pretty much going to do what they want to do. So it's extremely important that the kid is devoted to his or her own education, okay? So, now, if someone is serious about his or her education, you will find that this person will take sufficient account of their time. Okay? Time is your ultimate scarce resource. Given time, you can learn almost anything. So you need to spend your time wisely. Okay? Now, the classes that we have here focus on 4 aspects of English. You have vocabulary, which is in this book right here. And there are about 2,600 words here. And it's not easy. Okay? It really takes time. Okay? We use the words often in the class. We'll say the words on numerous occasions. Every week we quiz the kids on the words. And so now, Chris, you want to be quizzed right now, don't you? I can tell you do. No, maybe not. Anyway, so the thing is they need to hear these words, because the way kids learn words is by hearing them. And if you hear it used enough, it becomes just like any other word. It's nothing special about it. Okay? Now, with regard to grammar, this is the good news. There are only about 100 grammar rules. Okay? Once you know them and you've practiced with them a little bit, grammar should not be a problem at all. Okay? It's merely a matter of exposure and paying attention. Okay? Now, with regard to reading, everybody thinks they know how to read. Okay? But I'll tell you, there are even kids in college who lack sufficient skill in reading. Now, to read something doesn't mean that you understand it when you read it. Okay? A lot of times you'll find that a kid reads a page, they get to the bottom of the page and you ask them what the page say, nothing. They just don't remember any of it. Okay? Well, the time spent so-called reading was wasted time. That's why they need to cram before they take a test. And that's why they forget everything so soon after they take a test. Okay? Now, this used to happen to me too. There's a simple process that you can train yourself out of that. Okay? You can train yourself to read, because there's 2 actions involved here when you read. First of all, you need to comprehend what you've read. Second, you need, it's a separate action, you need to inscribe it somewhere on your memory so that you will remember what you read. Okay? So that's the more important of the 2, right? If you read something and you don't remember any of it, what's the point? Okay? That's not really reading. Now, the essay. Kids think they don't like to write essays. This is a mistake. They're under the impression that they don't like this. Actually, they do. Okay? They love to talk, right? They like to use their imagination. The problem with the essay is that it's difficult for them to come up with examples for the essay prompt. Okay? This, based on my experience, is the biggest problem that kids have. They have difficulty coming up with the examples. Now, what we do here is we focus on them knowing 1 book or 2 books. 2 books and a president is ideal. If you know 2 books really well and 1 U.S. president, the person's life and his 1 or 2 terms in office, you're going to be able to squeeze out examples. Okay? And it'll be very gratifying for the person, if it's an English teacher, to realize that you actually understood the book that you read in their class. Okay. Now, in addition, with regard to the reading, to go back to the reading for a moment, we give them really difficult stuff. It ranges from the easy to the difficult. Okay, stuff that's like the first chapter of the Tale of Genji, not very challenging. But then we move on up to Milton's Paradise Lost. Okay, something which is so difficult it's no longer taught on some college campuses. But the thing is, if you read it and you stick with it and you try to puzzle out the sentences, after a while, it's like the clouds parted and you can suddenly understand it all. Okay, now there are no shortcuts to this, however. You need to know the material. You have to know it. It takes time. Now, and in the class, pretty much all we do is present the material and then quiz them on the material, okay? They need to do the learning process on their own. But it does not have to be very time consuming. 15 to 20 minutes a day on vocabulary is sufficient, okay? If the time is used properly, okay? Now, let's see here. And another of the benefits is this. Kids are allowed to go as fast as they want to go. We have some who, well, we have a minimum speed. Everybody must follow a certain, a certain schedule. But if they want to go faster, they are encouraged to do so. Okay, so that there's nothing to hold them back, nothing to slow them down. They can go as fast as they want to. The key thing is, first of all, it has to be the kid embracing his or her future, because that's the one who's going to be left holding the bag, okay? And there's not really much the parents can do, in terms of pushing harder. Sometimes it actually has a negative effect, okay? So the program that we have here, if there's a kid who's motivated, there is no reason why the kid should not be able to get 2,300. That's sort of, 2,400, you have to be almost a little bit lucky to get a 2,400. But 2,300, it's doable. It is attainable. And with a 2,300 on your SAT test, you're going to look very, very good compared with, the kids from the other schools. Of course, this should also have a benefit in every other class you take. If you know the vocabulary, then when you take a literature class in high school, it should benefit you. You don't have to stop. You don't have to guess, and very often guess wrong as to what the author meant. Okay? So that's pretty much, in a nutshell, what we do. And it works very effectively in certain cases, in other cases not so much. And of course, the variable is the kid's attitude. Okay? And the key thing is they need to have a passion about education. If the kid has a passion, if they have the desire to learn, there is no reason why they should not be able to belong in the company of kids at Princeton or Stanford or wherever.